Hello, this is actually future Mel here. I'm editing and I just got to this first part and I realized I didn't even film an intro or anything. I literally just like sat down and started talking about my knits. So I happen to be wearing the same sweater that I was wearing then, so that works out, except now I told you that I'm future Mel, so. But anyways, so hello everybody, welcome to another podcast, vlogcast episode. My name is Mel. I'm the owner and dyer for Big Little Yarn Co. And I am saying hello from Japan. I live in Hyogo, Japan with my husband Tim and with a baby that we're expecting in April. And yeah, sorry, I totally forgot to do this intro, but if you're not familiar, I don't really do like a typical podcast where I just sit down and talk for about an hour, because it will literally take an hour or two. If you've seen my past videos, I talk a lot. I've been recently changing my format to this kind of checking in throughout the week kind of vlog, where I check in with what I've been working on throughout the week, and a lot of you have really enjoyed it, so thank you so much for your feedback. So if you're new here, welcome. I hope you are okay with this format, and if you are not okay with it, I'm planning on making the outro video kind of like a more traditional sitting down and talking about my knits. So I'll gather everything all together that I've finished or worked on and talk about that at the end. So I'll put like a little chapter link. I'm not sure where it would be in the description box, but you could just click that, and then I'll just talk about my FOs. Spoiler alert, I have FOs, and then and also my whips and stuff. So if you are not interested in like daily check-in stuff, you could just skip all the way to the end and I'll talk about what I worked on. So yeah, also my next little clip is a little fuzzy for some reason. I don't know why, my camera was being weird, so apologies for that. But thank you so much for coming back and saying hi. And if you're new here, welcome. You can follow me on Instagram at Big Little Yarn Co. And I also have a website. You can sign up for my newsletter. I am planning on having one more update before I have my baby. So if you want to, stay up to date with all the info for that, I usually post on Instagram, but I do also have an email newsletter that you can sign up for. Link is in my description box. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. I'll switch back to past Mel. Hi everyone. Today is the 10th. And I just wanted to give a little quick update of my current knits. I haven't been going out lately because usually I would work, but since I'm still off, I'm just been knitting at home as usual, just been watching podcasts, and yeah, which it's fun for me. I'm pretty, as you can probably tell, I'm a homebody anyway, so I have a couple things. So a little update on Tim's mittens. Finished one. It's a little hard to see, but finished one mitten, and this one is the convertible style. So these little fingers weren't super annoying or anything. They weren't as bad as I thought. These like individual mittened gloves are my first. I've only ever made like mittens or mitts where it just cuts off. So these are my first like finger holes, and it fits them really well. So I finished one hand, and then I also modified the thumb so that there's like a little thumb cap here in the pattern. It's either you do a full thumb or a partial thumb where it's just cut off. So I made it so that he can open his thumb, because I think he likes to be able to scroll on his phone with his thumb while he's out. So that is done. So I'm currently working on the second one. So I'm about to close the top here, and then I still have to do the finger holes and the thumb. I am a little worried about the yarn quantity. I don't know. I'm hoping that this lasts, but if it doesn't, I do have Tim, before these gloves, this yarn was made to, or this one, blah, blah, blah. This yarn was used to make a beanie for Tim. So I do have a beanie made out of this yarn that he doesn't wear, and that he's okay with me frogging in order to get some more, because he'd rather have these gloves rather than the beanie, because he never wears the beanie anyways. I'm hoping I don't have to do that. I'm hoping this is like just enough. I've been really careful with like when I snip the yarn and stuff, I try to use as little yarn as possible, and also if I do have like little random lengths of yarn, I've been trying to add it back into the ball so that everything gets used up. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, it's hard to tell because they're small, but each goes around, like I think it's like 7 rows per finger. And then also I have this thumb cap, so I'm not sure. I feel like I'm gonna run out like at the very end, and I'm gonna have to get like a few yards from the beanie, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, I finished one of these. Currently working on this, and I'll just show you really quickly. I'm pretty much at the point where you would split for sleeves. So this is it's really hard to see, but I could stretch out. So if you could see this shoulder seam here. So I'll be splitting for sleeves for this cardigan soon. Still just doing like one color row, or one set of color, or like one stripe like every so often on this. So that's been fun. I guess I should mention the pattern and yarn because this is a new episode, but this is the DAA cardigan, Don't Ask Again cardigan by Isabel Kramer, and her version just uses 2 color stripes, but I am using the advent calendar from Grenouille Co. And I'm just doing random striping. And again, I took out a few warmer toned mini skeins so that the color palette is all green, blue, purple. So it's a little bit more cohesive. So that's going well. And then, so the other day I got another shipment of yarn in. I totally forgot to like film it or anything. I literally just like burst it open. It was the advent calendar for Akara Yarns, who is in Canada. She's a Filipino Canadian, I believe. Yeah, we did a Advent box trade, and hers finally came in. It was a little stuck in customs, so it came a little late. So I just opened up the whole thing. Totally forgot to film it. I have it like bunched up in my office, like by color. But a lot of the colors, half of them was like cool toned, half of it was warm toned, so I kind of split it between colors because that's how I like to kind of organize my mini skeins. But as I was organizing the mini skeins, I realized that I had a lot of warm toned scraps, both from Akara Yarns and also from Grenouille, the ones that I took out. The ones that I decided to take out and not use for the cardigan. And also, like way back in the day, maybe like 3 years ago, I started on a Penguono, very long time ago, and I kind of lost speed on that. I kind of, it didn't, well, it was fun. It's fun to make. I was having a lot of fun knitting it, but the thing was that I kind of just gathered all of my scraps and was just kind of going for it, which is what you're supposed to do for Stephen West patterns, and which is a lot of fun. But as I was knitting it, I was like, will I actually be wearing something this crazy when I'm not inside a house? Like, will I ever wear it out? Like, can I even wear it out? Like, because I wear pretty neutral things usually. I do have a lot of colorful things, obviously, like things like this. I like to have like a pop of color and then a bunch of neutrals, if that makes sense. So I feel like that Penguono that I was making was a bit too crazy for me. I think because it just, none of the colors were really curated. I was just kind of going for it. So I kind of looked through that. I'd like bags of yarn for that, bags of scrap yarns. And so I was looking through that, and I realized that if I gather the mini skeins that I got from the Advents, as well as the scrap yarns, the warm tone scrap yarns, then I would have enough for Penguono. So this is, so what I'm trying to say is I casted something on again. I feel like I cast on every single episode, even though I'm not trying to. Like, I try not to cast. I don't know, I'm not really I mean, I'm saying, I want to say that I'm not a serial cast oner, but it seems as though I am. So anyways, I cast it on my Penguono attempt number 2, and so here it is, and I'm liking this so much better, this kind of color palette. So let me show you the box with all the scraps. So I've got like Big Little Yarn Co. scraps, like from my own shop. So I've got, this is like Big Little Yarn Co. This is from Akara Yarns Advent. I took off all the labels and balls. This is another Akara Yarns that I just got. Also the Grenouille Advent skein. So it's just a whole bunch of minis, partial, full skeins. I do have like some random full skein guys in here, so like these bigger ones, but most of them are all mini skeins. And then I do have like little baby balls of stuff. But yeah, the color story, I guess, as you can see, is like browns and pinks and some purples, but then I guess this kind of like pinkish maroon, And like these kinds of colors are probably the brightest ones that are in here. And then there's like some lighter colors as well, but like some deeper tones. But as you can see, it's a lot more curated. It's a lot more, for me, manageable and less stressful to think about when it comes to something like a pattern that requires some creativity and like wistfulness and letting go of these kinds of things. I feel like as somebody who really loves like farrell knitting and color work and things like that, I really like to make a set palette and really be in control of the colors that I'm using when I'm knitting something. But you know, something like West Knits, like a Penguono, is made so that you can let that part of your control go and not have to worry about it. So I think it really helps to, you know, if you were kind of wondering how you could start on making your own Penguono or something that requires a lot of colors and marling and things like that, is to just kind of gather things that kind of, you know, are in the same palette, but you can still have fun with, and you can still just grab and go and not have to think about it. And the only rule I have for myself for this project is to really just kind of trust myself when it comes to this box of yarn that I chose. And then if I do add a new color that I don't like, not that I don't like, but is making me kind of second guess myself, I just kind of go with it. Don't go back, you know, don't second guess it too much, just kind of keep going and then just kind of let the process take over. So that's what I've been doing. Like this little blip of light yarn got me kind of worried, but then once I kept going, it obviously looks a lot more cohesive. So it's just kind of like trusting your instincts and trusting your gut and just having fun with it. So this is the back, and for those of you who have seen Penguonos, you might notice that it's a bit smaller than the usual back panel. The Penguono calls for I think it's about like Aran weight, I guess I would say, yarn, Aran weight chunky. You could honestly use whatever yarns you want. He has Stephen West puts in like it's just the pattern is like a written, how should I say this? The pattern's written so that you could use different gauges to get different sizes, if that makes sense. So it's not like a regular pattern where you cast on a certain amount for each size. You actually match your gauge to get a certain size, and there's just one set of instructions. So if you've seen the Penguono, you know that it's a very, very oversized type of cardigan jacket type of look, cardigan coat, I'd want to say. I wanted mine, so my original first Penguono, I made it to gauge in order to get, I believe, a small or medium. I can't really remember anymore, but you know, I like checked the gauge and everything. This time I wanted it to be a little smaller. I knew I wanted it to be a little smaller and not so big and heavy looking, I want to say, just because I wanted it to be more wearable as like a everyday, not like an everyday piece, but like I want it to be something that I could like grab and go and not have to worry too much about, doesn't match this, doesn't match that. Like I just wanted it to be something that I could reach for. So I do really like oversized things, but when I look at the Penguono, I think it would kind of drown me just because I'm a very small person. I'm only 5 feet tall, and so it looks big on like average heighted, like average as in like maybe 5'6", 5'7" type of people, and I know that if it fit on me it would be even bigger. So I was looking at different project notes and things like that, and a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but some people went ahead and instead of holding 3 fingering weight yarns together, and by the way, all the yarns in there in the box are all fingering weight. So in the pattern, he recommends holding 3 strands of fingering weight together and using a size 10 needle. A lot of people in the projects who have held 2 strands of fingering weight and used size 8 needle have found success with that. I decided that one, I'm already using the size 8s for my my current whip, my Chalet Days sweater whip, and I didn't want to buy another size 8. I had a size 9, but it's on wooden needles, and I just don't really like knitting with wooden needles, and so I just ended up using a size 7. So I'm using a size 7 needles with 2 strands of fingering weight held together, and as you can see, it's a lot smaller. I think what I'm gonna do is to just keep track of how big the sides go. So first you start off with the back panel, and then you kind of grow the sweater to the side, to the sides, sideways, I guess you can say. And so you can make it wider if you'd want to. Like you just have to make the panels longer. So I'm just gonna keep track of that and see how that goes, because I would rather have it I don't know, I feel like if I knit with the 2 strands in the size 7, it would pretty much be like the Penguono, but like for my kind of stature, because the last time this back panel was pretty big. Like I want to say it was like this wide, and then this is still not finished, but it was quite tall as well, but it was definitely a lot wider, like maybe about 1.5 inches wider. And so that thing was going to be massive. This is a lot more petite, and I think it might fit my body size a bit better. So that's one thing that I'm modifying. And another thing that I am changing up is that there are welts on the back side of the Penguono, which are really cool and pretty, and I did that for my last one. I made the welts, but is it something that I would wear, that I would gravitate towards when I'm not feeling like a crazy sweater lady? No, you know, I'm not. Like, as I said, I'm a very, like, I like to wear more neutral things. I like to wear not so crazy things, I guess I would say. Like I feel like to me, in my wardrobe, this cardigan would be a crazy cardigan, you know what I mean? Like for my style, this is a crazy cardigan. Obviously the Penguono will be another crazy cardigan, but if I go the welts route, it would be a bit too much for me. So there is a project in the Penguono projects page made by, I think her username is like Napa Girl or something. If you go to the projects page for the Penguono and you sort by most helpful, she's like one of the top 2. So hers is like a very toned down version of the Penguono, because she only used one color for the whole thing, one solid color, and she also added pockets, she made it longer, and she had no welts. And the look looks like Penguono, but it is more you know, wearable for people like me who don't really want to have so much stuff going on. And I'm pretty much going for that kind of look. So I'm pretty much doing exactly, I'm just reading through her. She has a very in-depth project page, so I'm just going through that at the same time. So she did no welts, but she, instead of doing the welts, she did visible seams, or what do you call it? Visible seams? Is that what it is? So she picked up on the wrong side instead of the right side for when you grow the panels out, so you can see the seams. So visible seams, is that what it's called? She did that in place of the welts, and I really like that look. So it still looks scrappy, but also at the same time not as crazy as what the welts would be. So I'm going to be doing that. And then also, yeah, just because obviously since I'm knitting this in a smaller gauge, the length would obviously be quite short compared to what the pattern calls for. And but the length is easily adjustable because after you knit the sides and the front and you seam everything together, you go ahead and you cast on another band of stitches on the bottom, and then you knit downwards to get that extra length. And so the pattern calls for a certain amount of rows, but I would obviously just keep going until I like the length. And then also Napa Girl, I don't know her real name, so I'm just going to call her Napa Girl. Napa Girl also added pockets, who's not a fan of pockets, so I would like to do that as well. Yeah, so this is another like long-term project, but I am pretty excited for it. And I didn't realize how much warm tone scraps I have. So this is going to be really fun. And if I do start running out of scraps, I obviously am happy to bust into like my single fingering weight schemes that I don't really know what to do with, because although I do knit socks, I'm not a huge sock knitter, so it'd be nice to just use it for something else. But yeah, and then for those of you who are wondering what I'm gonna do with the cool toned scraps, I'm thinking about making a sea glass sweater. Well, the sea glass sweater calls for DK, and all my scraps are usually fingering weight, so I'll probably do like the sea glass tee, which calls for fingering weight, and then do like long sleeves or something. But yeah, I've been working on those. And then obviously my chalet days, it's a bit far from me and I don't want to move, but I've just been knitting on the body every now and then. I've really just been concentrating on Tim's gloves this past few days, so that's my little update. Yeah, tomorrow I have to go to another doctor's appointment for the baby, so I'm probably just gonna knit there, and then I'm not sure what we're gonna do for our weekend. Tim is off on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so those are our weekends. But yeah, so it's just been a chill week. Again, I hope it's not too boring. Thanks for sticking around, and I will update you when I have something to update with. Sorry there isn't much going on this week. It's been a pretty, I don't want to say boring because it's it's just been like a usual week here. So I've just been knitting as usual, and yeah, there wasn't really much to update you on. So I mean, we went to Osaka for a little bit, but I think I only got like a few clips of that. It was pretty just your usual week, so yeah, nothing special. Hope that's okay with you. But I wanted to take this time to update you on what I've been working on. And I decided that it might be better to put like a timestamp in the description box, so that for those of you who are not interested in what I was doing throughout the week, or in those little check-ins, maybe you could just click that timestamp and just pop over here to the wrap-up. So this is my wrap-up. First big thing is this fresh FO. Let me grab it. Still has yet to be blocked. I'm gonna block it right after this, but ta-da! Finished my Chalet day sweater. This is a test knit for Samantha Guerin. I'm not really sure how to pronounce her last name, but it's done. So I literally just finished binding off the body this morning, and it is now ready to block, so I'm going to do that right after. But here's a little close-up of the yoke. I love how the yoke came out. I love how the main color is variegated and then the CC is solid. So the main color is Catfish, the colorway Catfish by is that Kenyarns, Jake, on his Stratus DK base. So the pattern calls for worsted weight, but I was able to hit gauge using a DK weight and using a needle size up. And here's a little close up of the colorway. It's this really nice neutral variegated color. And then the CC here is Knitpicks Stroll fingering held double, so it's a bit more of a worsted weight, so it's a little heavier than the DK, but I think it worked out really well because it really makes the colorwork pop. So yeah, so I used two different things for that, and it worked out really well. I really like it. I tried it on. So far it's good. I think obviously the yoke will get a little bigger. It wasn't too tight or anything, but I know the yoke will definitely spread out a bit more once it's blocked. And then also obviously the sleeves look a little skinny right now because of the ribbing, but that'll be nice and blocked. But yeah, super happy with how this came out. I did not alternate skeins for the yoke or for the sleeves, but I did alternate skeins on the bottom, but it ended up color pooling. I'm not sure how that happened, but I think like it just so happened that where I started with both of those alternating skeins just ended up working out into a color pool. So you could kind of see this like color pulling here. I don't know if you could see it in the back. I mean, I don't really care. I'm not really too fussed about that kind of stuff, especially because it's like a neutral and it's not like there's like a big stripe of random color just going through it. I don't really mind. But yeah, I found it really odd that it didn't pool when I didn't alternate skeins, and then it pooled when I did. So yeah, not a big deal. What else? Didn't do any mods because it's a test knit. let me see, I knit the size 2 of the pattern and used a US size 8 needle. Yeah, that's it. But I highly recommend this pattern. Her yoke pattern is so pretty, and I'm not really sure when it's gonna come out, but when it does, you should really hop on it because it was a super fun knit. The yoke, I think I knit the yoke in a day because it was just so addicting. So yeah, that is an FO. So I was working on that pretty, not exclusively, but this was the one that I was working on the most throughout the week. And then I also have another FO that I don't have right now, but I also finished Tim's cable dad mitts. I'm pretty sure I put some clips of that before, but yeah, so I finished those, so that's another FO. Another knit that I've been working on, as you know, is the DAA cardigan. So I think last time I was about to split for the sleeves, so I've gone and split for the sleeves. As you can see here, kind of hard to show, but here you can see I split for the sleeves and then joined the underarm for the body. So I'm just on stockinette island, just knitting until it is deemed long enough. Not quite sure how long I'm gonna want this. I'll probably just try it on as I go to see how I like it. I might actually go ahead and, like, once I knit maybe 2 inches of the 2 more inches of the body, I'll just do the sleeves so that I could just start trying it on and seeing how long I want the body to be. That's a bit easier. But yeah, so again, this is knit using Grenouille Co's Advent Calendar skeins. I'm just randomly choosing the stripes and no mods. I'm knitting the size 3. Using US size 4 needles because I want it to be oversized. I think if I were to choose the correct size, I would have knit the size 2, but I do want this to be an oversized cardigan, so I just knit 1 size up. And no mods. The only thing I kind of modded was this back faux stitch here. It's supposed to be a regular knit stitch, but I decided to make those into slip stitches just to make it a little more decorative. I don't know, I think that's kind of cute. So yeah, that's going well. So I'm just doing like a stripe every so often. I'm not in too much of a rush on this. So that's been going. And then also I showed you my Penguono before. I think I just did the back at that point, but I've done the sides, and right now I am currently doing the sides. So this is gonna be knitted all the way up. This is kind of like the armpit section. But yeah, I love how this is turning out. I love the colors. It's definitely a lot more cohesive than the first one. This is my second attempt. It's a lot more cohesive than the one before that I was making, so I'm really happy with that. Again, I'm using 2 fingering weight yarns held together with the size US 7 needle, so it's a lot smaller. I'm kind of trying to hit the width of my favorite oversized sweater that I made. Not oversized, but kind of oversized sweater, my Clove sweater by Rachel Knits Things. I really like the width of that, so I'm just trying to hit that width by kind of adding some more stitches to like the armpit area. So it's a really easy pattern to just add more stitches to and then kind of modify in that way. Yeah, I don't think it's too difficult to just make bigger or smaller. I guess smaller would be a bit more difficult because excuse me. Knitting it smaller would be a little bit more difficult because the only option you have is to use a smaller sized yarn or smaller sized needles, which I did. But to make it bigger from that point, like if you do want to make sure it's not too small, it is quite easy to just add some more stitches here, or maybe like if you wanted to add some more rows going sideways just so that it's wide enough. And then for the length, this is a provisional cast on, so you could make it as long as you want. So yeah, it's going pretty well. Yeah, I've just been like playing around with it every so often whenever I feel like it. It's not like a big like have to finish it kind of project for me, especially because there's a lot of little sections. I'm like, oh, I'll just finish this section today and finish this section tomorrow. So it's just been a nice little relaxing knit. Oh, and then another thing, sorry if I'm repeating all this stuff because I just want it to be a wrap up, but so I didn't do the welts. I don't know if you've seen the Penguono photos of the Penguono before. There are welts here, so I decided not to do that, and instead I picked up the stitches on the wrong side. Sorry, there's like a bunch of yarn ends that I have to clip off, but I picked up the stitches on the wrong side so that there's like this seam here, so that instead of the welts I have a more subtle seam instead. And same thing for, well, for this one I'm knitting it like how I'm knitting it on the wrong side. So this is actually, this seam here should be on the wrong side. The right side is supposed to not have any seam going between these two sections here and here, like that. Well, I kind of started off like correctly, but I decided that I wanted it to have that seam here so that it matches the seam going down this length as well. So that's another mod. So I've just been tweaking it a little bit every now and then. But yeah, and then now that the Chalet Day sweater is done, I now have my US size 8s available again so that I could restart, or not restart, but continue on my Amara sweater, which is this. It's just on some random needles right now. So still on the body, so I'm gonna put the needles back on and continue on this one. So this is my new kind of main project, and so I'm probably gonna knit this maybe like 2 more inches or so before I start on the splitting for sleeves. And this I'm using, if you haven't seen me talk about it already, I'm using my own yarn. This is Big Little Yarn Co. Superwash Fingering in Rust as the main color. And then I currently don't have this base in my stock. I'm hoping to bring it back in 2022. This is Patina on Kid Silk Lace. I'm just holding that together. But yeah, so those are my current projects. I hope this video wasn't too boring. I feel like I say that every single time. One thing I've noticed is I say I hope it's not too boring every single time, and then also too I always say I always end up casting something on that I wasn't meaning to, like every week. I didn't notice how much I do that until I started filming these. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and for sticking around and just being okay with this weird format that I have, I guess. It is a lot easier and less stressful for me to just plop down and like talk for a little bit every now and then versus having to sit down for like an hour or so, and then like having to remember everything that I wanted to talk about and then all that stuff. So it is quite nice. So I hope you enjoy it as well, and I hope you've been enjoying your January so far. Yeah, I hope the new year has been treating you well. So let me know if you I don't know, if you want to see, is there something you want to see that I haven't shown before? I don't know. If you have any requests, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching and for sticking around. Yeah, I really do enjoy talking to you and showing you what I've been up to. So it's been really nice. Stay well and stay healthy, and I'll see you next time. Bye.